Hello. Hi, John. Hi, Robert.
Hey, are we live? How are you?
Good. Thank you. Okay. Good morning, everyone, and good evening or late night for you, Al. Thank you for all being here. I love it when people show up, and I love doing webinars and seeing your smiling faces and have a discussion about different things. I always pick a topic that mostly I'm interested in, but I find other people are interested in it as well. Um, I look into it, I put a few things together, but I've always loved the part of it that we discuss things and I learn from you and we learn from each other and we have a good discussion. So think of this um, more like a dialogue. If I try to remember as many times as possible to ask for your opinion, but feel free to um, virtually raise your hand using the features. So because on the screen I will see the hand. I might not be able to see your physical hand. And we go from there. So with that, let's just get started. I'm gonna share my screen and share and go to full screen slideshow. So during this part of it, feel free to mute yourself, just to have a clean line. But yes, whenever you like, you can unmute yourself and we can have a discussion. Do you see the big slide on the screen? If just raise your hand and let me know. The thumbs up. Yes, thank you. So, um, why great leads don't convert, or most of the leads, and what is it that we can do about it? This this is something that I was thinking about because before even being able to form a question, I noticed something is not right. For for I don't know, for good or for not, I have this talent of that I notice discrepancies more than other people. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Colby test. That was actually one of the lines in my report that I noticed discrepancies among other people with my group of people who have the same profile more than the rest of the society, which leads to help me notice things and come up with improvement ideas and that sort of thing. So the discrepancy that I noticed, the thing that didn't set right with me is there's so much emphasis, whether it's marketing, whether it's products, whether it's offers, is on lead generation. It seemed to me that yes, lead generation is of course obviously important, but can't be cured to everything the way that is being promoted to all of us, or we thinking about it. There are so much resources around it. There must be other parts of the business that I may not even know what they are at this point. When I was, as I said, I didn't even have a question for it in my head. But lead generation could be the answer to some business challenges, business problems, whether it's a one-person business or whether it's a small business or otherwise. Um, and there must be other parts of the business that they also contribute to the bottom line at the end of the day. It cannot be that simple that the more leads we get, more profitable we get. Uh, there are all sorts of steps in between. So I was thinking about that, which led me into the rest of the ideas that I want to share with you. So a quick backstory about myself. I studied medicine, became a doctor, but decided I don't want to do that. And this was late 90s, so 98, 99. Internet was a big thing. So I started to do web design and programming and graphic design. I had the internet marketing company, internet development company for a bunch of years. And as I said, it evolved to internet marketing and business growth, and all of that turned into coaching and consulting for other businesses. I have been a solo coach consultant since 2006, and obviously, there were so many things to learn, both on from practice and doing things, and the other one, I didn't come from a business background, so I had to cover so much ground. The thing that always stayed with me and helped me and also helped me help my clients was this focus on making everything practical, and it's all about implementation. To me, implementation is everything. If you have been to my website, you see the tagline up there is planning for growth is simple, execution, not so much. So that's where always my focus goes. And after seeing so many recurring questions in the past few years about the challenges of growing business, my focus has been on business development and all the challenges of it. And certainly this presentation is around that. We were talking about the FRAC conference, and for some reason my slides are not moving. There we go. That's a picture of the FRAC conference last October. It was a good group of people. I was one of the speakers. I had a 90-minute workshop around business development and the challenges of it. That's one of the pictures. That was the topic of the workshop. Get chosen. And this whole idea of not being just another vendor and being a trusted expert. And today's topic is an element or an aspect of the same conversation. So coming back to our presentation, why great leads don't convert and what to do about it. So before I go any further and share with you what I thought about, what I have found, and which angle we're gonna approach this, I want to hear from you guys. Anybody who has, as a guest or wants to share something beside lead generation, what are the other contributing factors to have better conversions and more conversions with the people that we meet, the leads and prospects, and what could go right or wrong there? Anybody wants to share anything? Yes, John.
Hello. So this is something that we spend a lot of time working on in our group, but we have interviewed a lot of fractionals, as I know you have as well, and we've asked them about their process in BizDev and whether they have any frustration with it. And
Hmm.
what we heard was even those who consider themselves successful have a level of frustration. And when we dug into that, absolutely, we saw things like win rate. But
Hmm.
when we dug deeper, what we found the frustration was that for many of us, the conversations don't resolve. There's no close. And
Uh-huh.
so they drift, and we call that conversational drift, or I call it great meeting limbo, where you
Mm.
totally vibed with the potential client, everything you thought great meeting, but then a few weeks or months later, you're still talking and you don't really know where you stand. So
Yeah.
that's more of the problem than it is the solution, but I don't want to hog the mic.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you.
thank you. Yeah, that's certainly has been my experience, and I believe so many other people also. Yeah, Mark is giving you a thumbs up. It has been, our experience as well. Anybody else? Okay, cool. Let's move on. So I thought it's the whole idea of preparing the prospect for the sales conversation. I know some of you, like William, come from a sales background and you have seen so many different aspects of it, so much experience. And when I say prepare, I'm sure so many things come to mind for people like him. So this idea about preparing the prospects for the sales conversation, that in a way that sales conversation becomes just a confirmation. It doesn't become a negotiation or persuasion or any of that. We know the best kind of a sales is that the end we end up answering questions and facilitating the conversation and moving forward. So if that's true, and it is true, so how do we go about that? How do we make that happen? Why is it that great leads don't convert? We already talked about this. The problem can't be lead generation for everything. Um, what I noticed is whether, again, one-person businesses or small business clients that I worked with, so many of them, they do a good job in bringing people to their conversation, to their website, to their content. But as we said earlier, they end up experience being ghosted. People come in and not much happens after that. Uh, Even if, anything from lead generation. a lead magnet sort of a thing that they fill a form or download something, but you never heard from them again. Or some people, they even have email addresses dedicated to those things that it's not something that they check. Um, it could be about price sensitivity or, always the answers of let me think about it, let me get back to you. But again, that's so hard to keep the momentum of the conversation going. And we also, so many of us end up in comparison shopping conversations with not much of a certainty or intent. And this is not that people are trying to be mean or coming from a negative place. It's just the nature of it. This, to me, is more of a defense mechanism of because we know that people love to buy the right things for themselves. If they believe something is really helpful to them, they cannot wait to buy it. So it's not a resistance to purchasing or signing the contract. It's resistance to making the wrong decision and buying the wrong thing and not knowing what they're looking at. Um, so it feels like it's a lead quality issue, but often it's not. It's that assumption that we need more leads for everything. So we keep talking about things like I need more ads, I need more outreach, I need more funnels, but at the end of the day, if you look at it, not the amount, not the numbers, but percentages, the conversion doesn't improve much. So, as I said, working with people or paying attention, I noticed that most businesses are misunderstood. The people come to their website, people start to have a conversation with that person in networking, or people look at their content, and the person who's consuming the information doesn't get it the right way. And so the business ends up being misunderstood. Well, whose responsibility it is? It's the business owner, it's the professional. It's their job to make other people understand, to clarify, to simplify their message and their content. But at the end of the day, that's not easy. That's why there are experts when it comes to strategy, from to messaging to positioning and that sort of thing to um, help businesses or professionals to be understood the right kind of a way. Businesses end up looking the same, sounding the same, looking the same, and this being misunderstood is so vast and so in so many levels, or maybe it's just my sensitivity to it now. Everywhere I look, I see it. So here's the thing: if people don't understand you, they cannot trust you. And we know absolutely that's one of the prerequisites for saying yes to you for, either the final yes or any of the yeses in the whole process. Well, if they don't understand you, they cannot trust you. And if they cannot trust you, well, the whole conversation doesn't move forward. So this is a messaging problem. It's not a traffic problem. So going back into that suspicion that I had, lead generation could be only part of the problem, not the whole thing. So in other words, we do the work, we meet people, we bring them to our websites, we create the traffic, they come in, they don't understand us, we are misunderstood, they go away. So right there, that's not a traffic problem, it's a messaging problem. And that's basically the core of today's conversation. So what's the leak? Um, the leak is that big drop off after leads are generated because messaging doesn't guide them to the next stage. And what's obvious after that, messaging doesn't nurture a relationship with them. And at the end of it, messaging doesn't convert. We get warm leads as opposed to cold leads. They are qualified to called warm leads, but in my mind, they are not still ready leads because warm lead is basically curiosity. A person who wants to eventually use their credit card and buy, they are ready. And that process of readiness is something that we are in charge of. We need to guide them. We need to nurture that conversation for the eventuality of conversion to happen. And that's what I call a lead retention issue, um, because it's not a fulfillment issue. It's not a closing issue. It's that messy middle between lead generation and lead conversion. So we can call that whole big middle lead nurture as to name it something. But the issue of lead retention, keeping people in there in that messy middle is the challenge. So again, just to say it in one sentence, so many of us think we have a lead generation problem, but we suffer from the issues with keeping and converting those leads. So keeping and converting is what I refer to as that messy metal, which is murky, foggy, and overlooked. And really, people don't know what they're dealing with. And so many just skip it. They have a lead, they just boom, give them an offer right there. There are people that I have been on their list, and after not while, I noticed that's their pattern. There is not much happening in between. Every message that I get from them is trying to sell something without telling me why is it good for me or nurture a relationship. And guess what? Whether or not I unsubscribe, I make a mental note to never buy from them because yeah, I don't know, once or twice when I did before, that thing didn't turn out to be a good kind of a purchase. So why that messy middle gets ignored? Well, one of it is, as I said at the beginning, lead generation is sexier, or the perception is that so much effort is on that. It's you cannot get on Instagram or Facebook or anywhere without seeing ads. And I'm guessing like me, so many of us are also getting these um, unsolicited messages from strangers that, hey, I can get you so many appointments, I can get you so many leads, and it's all about lead generation. All of the talk about the metrics and the dashboards and the growth index and this and that. Meanwhile, opportunity leaks quietly after we meet people and we talk to them. So what's missing? Most leads don't need chasing. They need nurturing. That's one of the main points that I wanted to make. Most leads, most prospects, they don't need chasing. They need nurturing. So I think this would be a good place to ask you, when you see that on the screen, what comes to mind? What is your definition of nurturing? What is your definition of chasing? Anything that anybody wants to share? Yes, Tarek.
Yeah, uh, chasing means I want to get the business and I want to get their money, and they when they feel that there is a resistance.
Yes.
Nurturing is when I am following up about their problem, about what is that they have done, and are they still interested if that is a solution that I have provided for them that is something that they are interested in.
Okay. What else could be in the nurturing conversation?
That's a good question.
And when I ask a question, doesn't
Well,
mean that I have an answer. That's a question that comes to mind. We are
yeah.
having a discussion. Yes, William.
A couple of things. I think a sincere interest in understanding their business
Mm.
before you try to sell them something. I auto delete a bunch of reach outs every day. Anybody who starts off saying they can automatically generate thousands of leads or grow my business by 10% or whatever the numbers happen to be,
Mhm.
as the first intro of a conversation is meaningless to me. I auto delete it because
Mhm.
they haven't even taken the time to understand my business.
Yes, and I assume so many of us share the same experience and share same sort of an approach.
Well, it's
Anybody?
to understand the business, but it's also to understand the business owner. Like
Yes.
what is really going on for them and why have they reached out?
Yes, why are there in front of us? What's
Yeah,
going on in their world right now? What's the
yeah.
challenge? Because, I remembered I learned this lesson early in my web design company that I had a terrible name and I asked other people, what can I do this? So that was the first time I heard the word branding. I said, what you need is a branding expert. So what is a branding expert? So I eventually were put in touch with the right kind of a person, and I learned so much from that conversation. And I basically told the guy, "Hey, I need a name and a logo for my business." And I thought, okay, the order is complete. And he said, "Well, I have questions." And I'm thinking, what questions you might have? It's a web design business. Uh, it's not complicated. But when I wasn't considering that, hey, I could be different or the business could be different. So I didn't even entertain the idea of somebody else wants to understand me and what's going on in business, or I need to be understood. And that was the aha moment or the light bulb that I had that moment. John.
Yeah, I'm hearing very similar themes, and again, I say the royal we. We talk about diagnosing what's going on in the business before you layer on your domain expertise. Actually, I mean, no one's going to take a meeting with you without looking at your LinkedIn and knowing what you do. So you're not hiding anything,
Mhm.
but you're not like if you introduce yourself and start your pitch as I'm a fractional CRO, you've actually closed opportunities in the client's mind because they may assume they don't have a problem or they do sales. What are you telling me? I'm not good at sales. How dare you, right? Like you don't know where you stand yet. So figuring out a way to diagnose what's going on in the business, or at least what the business owner thinks is going on in the business, is a better first step than sort of bragging on your own capabilities or what you think you can do for someone. I agree with, I think William said, someone doesn't even know me and they tell me they can 10x my business, like that's in the garbage, right? I'm not even going to look at that. So,
Yes, exactly. So that clarity that we have right now, when we are being sold to, when we reverse that, we could be, wearing the other shoe. We are the person who needs to do some activities and take some steps to understand our clients, or in my case, as I said, prepare them for the sales conversation. So the sin that we're seeing that we are being exposed to, we don't want to repeat it ourselves. What is it that we can do to be understood the right way? And clients or prospects, when they see us, they want to become a client if this is the right fit. And guess what? It's not their job to discover that. It's my job to make sure that the whole conversation prepares them for that. Anybody else? Kevin, or I don't know how to say your name. Is it Irv, or the last name is Williamson? Please teach me how to say your name. You're on mute.
Yeah, my name's Irv.
Irv. Okay,
Yeah.
that was a good guess.
Yeah. Could you repeat the question, please?
I said with what we're talking about, what's missing is that leads that don't need chasing, they need nurturing.
Mhm.
Either being the person who is selling or being sold to, what comes to mind? What has been your experiences, and the things that other people were sharing? Any ideas, any feedback about those?
Yeah, my experience is a little different, I think, than a lot of people that are on the call today. I'm a fractional CFO,
Yes.
and typically I'm talking to entrepreneurs that have a problem with their business. Okay, so to me, it's not a sell; it's more a matter of interviewing them
Mhm.
to see if I can provide what they're looking for. And a lot of times they're looking for everything like, my sales are going through the roof, but I don't have any money. I don't understand it. That's a real
Yes.
common question, those kind of things.
Hmm.
And so that's what I said. Mine are a little bit different. I'm actually selling anything. I'm really kind of like sorting out, is this going to be a client where I can actually create value? And
Yes.
that's it.
Yes, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Irv. And Kevin is dittoing what you just said. He said, I'm in a library, can't talk, but I can type. And Kevin says, I find that the most productive sales process is more a shared journey where each side asks questions and listens. Perfect. Yes. I think we all agree with that. Okay, excellent. Well, thank you for that. And let's move on. And we're talking about sales. Whether you have decided that what your definition of sales is or not, we all have a definition of sales. Doesn't matter if it's clear, crystal, or is it vague. What we are thinking about. And until somebody brought up, say, hey, what do you think? What is your definition of sales? I was in the vague category, didn't know what I think. sales is it was dynamic and was vague and it didn't go. And we all can benefit from clarity in everything. Simplicity and clarity has been the two main keywords of whole my not only career but my whole life. So I looked into this, and funny enough, in that first conversation when this came up, one of the side of the conversation was this gentleman called Dan Sullivan. Some of them you might know him, strategic coach, and the way that he described sales, his definition of sales, I found myself um, uh, adopting that and accepting that. So I'm going to share that with you. William says sales equals solutions to needs and opportunities. Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. So Dan Sullivan's definition of sales. I'm going to bring it up on screen and I'm going to read it loud because that's something that always has been helpful to me. So sales is, let me move these things around on my screen. Zoom is having fun with me, if you know what I mean. Okay, selling is getting someone to intellectually engage in a future result that is good for them. And underline, highlighted, bold, good for them. Selling is getting someone intellectually engaged in a future result that is good for them and getting them to emotionally commit to take action to achieve that result. Whether we are part of that future action, whether they are buying from us, they're asking for our help or not, if we get them to intellectually engage with the future results, that's good for them, and start taking action. Again, whether I'm part of that future or not, I have done my job as far as serving them. And if they decide to do business with me and, give me some of the benefits of that, even better. But that's the definition of sales, again, with underlined, bolded, and highlighted the part of good for them. Because we all know the kind of selling that is not really good for the client. I don't think we want to buy that or sell that. And also the ones that it's pushy and they know it's not good for them, but we're putting them in a situation that they have to buy it. Guess what? If they don't want to give me their money, I want it even less. So anybody has any feedback about this definition? If not, if we all agree, we can move forward. Sounds good? Thumbs up? Yes? Okay, let's go. So the sales, we talked about listening and hearing and understanding the businesses. At the end of the day, it's an emotional journey. It has step by step. It goes through different stages. In my experience, people, before anything, they want to feel seen and heard. Asking about their question, asking about their business, asking about their unique situation. That's where the first seeds of trust is planted. When people feel the emotional journey, feel seen and heard. That's our job, to ask questions and listen. And when we have that conversation, when it becomes a dialogue, when we ask other questions or come back with the feedback, they realize we have been listening and we are engaged in this conversation. Now they go from the first desire, first need of being seen and heard to now they feel understood, which again, as you can see, it's improving the trust. They say it's know, like, and trust. So you can see know and like and trust is developing as we go through this emotional journey. What comes after that? So let's say I'm having a conversation with someone. We're talking about their problem. We're talking about their challenges. They feel seen and heard. And I ask some question. I come up with other suggestions or examples. And they see, yes, this is something that I have dealt with before. Whether I have been there or have helped other people with that, they feel understood. Obviously, at that moment, they're going to feel, I wonder if there is something in this conversation or in this product that can help me. So the next feeling is going to be curiosity. Before that, we cannot move forward because people might go from the first and second feeling, and that's just information, until it becomes a desire, curious. I wonder if this is going to help me. They see themselves in that. And we're going to have a conversation about the offer and the product and the benefits and the features and this and that. And all of that might sound good and a good fit, but until they feel safe with the person that they want to buy from, they're not going to say yes, they're not going to sign. What does feeling safe mean? It means when they look at you, they say, hey, when I work with Irv or William or Mark, I'm going to be in good hands. If something goes wrong, Kevin, Mary, Tarek, he or she is going to take care of me. They're going to tell me the truth. So we know there is that initial fit, but whether we consciously think about it or not, we know things will go wrong, or new things will come up. We want to make sure the person that we're dealing with is going to take care of us. We're going to be in good hands, and we are going to be either protected or at least have an ally with that unpredictable future that will eventually show up. These 4 stages of emotional journey: seen, understood, curious, safe. Does this make sense? Is there any part of it that doesn't make sense? Am I missing a step or anything? I would love to hear from you if there is something in here worth discussing. No? Good? Okay, excellent. Oh, I heard, yeah, John, go ahead.
Sorry, I was on mute and I couldn't find the button.
Yeah.
So I love all of these. I think they're like emotional hooks, and I love all of these. The only other thing I would say is have specific steps in the process. So again, I'm not talking about like online lead forms, but once you're in a conversation with a client, going from we had a meeting to will we work together is too much. So if you can run a process where you take that curiosity and you point forward and say, this is something we could talk about next if you wanted, tends to create a pull motion rather than a push motion. And I think the client will move along with you in that, or they'll tell you they're not interested. And in that case, no is a gift, right? Because
Yes.
they're not curious, they're not interested.
Yes, and it's very much is a process, is step by step. That's why I call it the emotional journey. It's going from this stage to the next one to the next one. And yes, in some parts it's a yes, it's a no. Those with the branch of the conversation, but at the end of the day, there is always a map, and one of them could be the final no. And as John said, it's a gift, because if we are not a good fit, what's the point of doing business together? But yes, all of that. Anybody else? And I just got a message from Robert that this watermark we see is some sort of a security feature that I must have turned on when I was setting up the event. So I don't know what exactly that is, but it's probably something I did. Anyway, moving on. So conversion is emotional permission, not just a logical agreement. It's going through all of the stages. We all know that we make the sales decision first emotionally, then we justify it with logic. So we all do that. Doesn't matter if we like it or not. That's human nature. There is no going against it. It's only going with it and working with it, or we're gonna lose. There is no point fighting nature. There is this thing called I call it the expert gap. I'm sure there is a name for it that other people have called it. It's when we talk with other people, when we look at things, experts see a system, but when we talk to people who are not like us, expert at what they do, all they see is mystery, and it's like a black box to them. I always make this joke with, especially with my accountant friends, that when I speak with my accountant, he or she speaks Accountanese. I don't understand so much of the terminology and the language that they're saying. When I was in web design, I got compliments from the clients that, hey, you didn't talk to us like other web designers and technologists. You spoke human to us. We understood what's happening. What is it that we're buying or not? So this gap between the clarity that we have as experts and the vagueness that they have as clients gives them that black box experience, the mystery and the overwhelm that comes with it. That's something we need to be aware of and do some things about it to help the client. People buy from the person who explains things to their pain the best possible. They don't buy from the smartest people. They don't buy from the most experienced or the best option. They buy from who is the clearest when it comes to describing the pain and telling them where they're at. We all know that if you can explain somebody's situation, somebody's pain to them better than they can, they automatically assume you have the right solution for them. They automatically assume you are the expert. So again, if you can explain somebody's situation and pain to them better than they can, they automatically assume you are the right person for them. So that clarity is the main winning aspects of it. So for that to happen, what are the things that needs to happen before the sale happen? Because at the end of the day, the sales conversation it is the final step, but it shouldn't be the first real conversation. We should have a bunch of real conversations before that. It should be continuation, natural continuation of that. And to me, it's all of the things that not only in this, but also this is a rule of life, but in this situation, like everywhere else, there are things that they really matter, that they contribute to where we're going. Then there are things that we can control, but the overlap is that small part in the middle. That's where we should put our focus. So the rest of this presentation, or all of it, I should have said, is about that part that we can control and what really matters. So the preparation principle is all about preparing people for that sale. So by the end of it, the sales and saying yes happens naturally. It feels right. It feels like a good fit, and we go from there. Prepared prospects. If we have prepared prospects, the conversation is natural, calm, decisive, that kind of a conversation. Just by paying attention to the texture of the conversation, we can have a gauge of, are we dealing with somebody that we have done our best to prepare them, or there is more needs to be there? Because if you're dealing with unprepared clients, we're going to have a defensive and awkward and price-focused kind of a conversation. So those are your signs and symptoms of how well you have done when it comes to preparing your clients for the conversation. So the preparation principle, I like to share a quote from Charlie Munger. More important than the will to win is the will to prepare. More important than the will to win is the will to prepare. I don't know about you. The first time I heard that, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I realized, oh, yes, that's the common pattern in everything that I haven't been able to do, or all of my, unwins and failures and whatever we want to call them, all of the challenging parts of life. So it's a ladder. It's similar to the emotional journey. It's taking them from step to step to step, a bunch of different layers of that emotional process, and get them ready. The first one is, before coming to the sales conversation, they need to be pre-exposed to what? To who you are, what you do. They are familiar with you. It's not a conversation with a stranger. We all mentioned at the beginning, those messages that they come in, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I can do this for you. Buy from me. Oh, I don't know who you are. This could be the right thing. Your product, your product could be fantastic. I don't know anything about that. It's that lack of familiarity, lack of knowing about you, lack of me being pre-exposed to you is the challenge. So we can cause the same challenge for other people. So they need to be pre-exposed. What else comes in preparation? It's being pre-positioned, as in they're going to see you as the trusted and the right fit, the right guide, right provider for that, which goes with the same thing that we mentioned before. Tariq mentioned it as well. Talking about the problem. William mentioned it, as in understanding their business. That whole going deep with the research, with the questions, and coming back with the feedback, so they feel seen, they feel understood. And when you, in the whole process of understood, and you come back with suggestions or offer them solutions, they feel that that's the right fit. So therefore, this person in front of me is the right guide for my situation. So This shouldn't be something that we're going to do at the time of the offer, time of this sale, when we are asking for the credit card. This should be done in advance. It's another step of the preparation. They need to be pre-educated about the whole thing. Again, repeating it. It's what problem do you solve? For whom? What way? What's your methodology? What category of solution is this? What level of solution in that category is this? What's the difference between you and everybody else in that category, and why you are the right fit? And all of the going deep with all different aspects of the problem and the solution and all of the relationship. This should happen before the sales conversation, that education of fit, before we get to the the closing conversation. They should be pre-qualified. As in, yes, we're going to have that conversation, whether it's content marketing for the pre-exposure or pre-education, whether it's webinars like this or any of that. But at the end of the day, after, I don't know, a long time, a bunch of months or years, you're going to be talking to hundreds of thousands of people. They're going to be exposed to your message, but not all of them are the right fit for you. The same way that you need to be the right fit for them, they need to be the right fit for you. So you want to have processes that pre-qualify them before they get to that conversation. You don't want to waste your time either. For those of you who have booked a meeting with me, you have noticed that on my calendar page, I have 3 questions. They are simple questions, but that's one of my attempts in pre-qualifying a person that I am talking to. Sometimes people don't answer, and sometimes people give me elaborate answers. There is no right and wrong, but that tells me something about them, because many times the people don't provide an answer. It's irrelevant to what we want to talk about. I don't really need that. But I do have steps in between before getting to a conversation to see if this is a good fit for both of us, goes both way or not. And they also should be pre-interested with the job that we have done in all of the previous steps of the ladder. They should come to that, really wanting something, whether they buy from me or not. They might not buy from me. They might buy from somebody else or buy from me tomorrow, but there should be that genuine interest from them. It's not oh, okay, I have to be on this call. I have to be in this conversation, telling me what you get so I can get out of this as soon as I can, or ignore you or not listen to you. Yeah, well, there is no point in having that. They should be pre-interested. How do we measure that? Depends on your industry and your expertise and how you want to do it, but they want to be there. They also should be pre-motivated. We cannot help anyone who doesn't want to be helped. They need to be emotionally ready to take the action, and if it involves investment of time and money and effort and any of that, they want to have a solution. We all have tried to give advice to someone who really didn't want to hear it, or maybe we have been that person. I have been that person many times. So if I'm not motivated to receive help, I'm not going to get it. So all of that effort goes to waste. So urgency of, hey, I'm motivated, I want to buy this now, comes from clarity, not from pressure. There are pressure tactics that they are valid and that can be used to help people get out of their own way, but just for that, not to making them do something that is not in their interest or they don't want to do. That goes against that definition of sales that we had at the beginning. If we don't do this preparation work, well, we have to deal with the consequences. We're going to end up in conversation that is an objection handling marathon. We all have been there. It's not fun at all. If we don't do our preparation work, the whole energy is going to be defensive. It's not a spirit of collaboration. We don't want that. We have all felt the sweetness of a conversation that is going well and is cooperative and collaborative. We want more of that in our life. If we don't do the preparation work, they haven't seen the value. They don't really know if I'm good fit or not. They're just doing bargain shopping. So it's going to be a price obsession kind of a conversation. We don't want that either. I have been on both sides of it, and neither of them was fun, whether I wanted to sell something or wanted to buy something. And decisions are stalled. They're never made. You put all of that time and energy and nothing happens. The sales should be a confirmation of everything that we have done already, a clarification, answering their questions. It should be a decision conversation as opposed to what's going on, what's happening, I have this problem. So it's a confirmation, clarification, decision kind of conversation, not persuasion. Clarity will create all of that. It's a system. The whole thing is a process, is a system. So what's happening in that system? Marketing prepares people. Messaging nurtures them. Positioning reassures them. And sales at the end facilitates them. Give me a thumbs up if this makes sense to you or you agree with it. If not, I'd like to hear, what would be something that, comes against it. Excellent. I got my confirmation. Thank you. I sold the idea. Excellent. So there is that shift that we should stop asking, how do I close better? And start asking, how do I prepare better? We know that's how professional world-class people operate. Your role is not just knowing selling tactics. You're guiding them to think and understand and decide. You're a guide in the whole process. And the final thought is you don't close people, you remove confusion. The solution becomes the obvious answer, the obvious next step. You don't push decisions, you create clarity and help them to move to the next level. Clarity creates the momentum forward that we need. That's the main idea that I wanted to share with you. And before basically the final chat and conversation. So what I decided to do about it, the program that I have created for at this stage is for the experts, people who are fractionals, people who are consultants, people who rely heavily on networking to sell themselves or their services, very small businesses, and all of the challenges. Today we just talked about the preparation. There are other things. We mentioned positioning. Well, how do we do that? Well, in the group that I have created, we just had a session about that. The group is called the Trusted Expert Growth Lab. And it's about implementation. There is a weekly rhythm of getting things done and making things happen. Because everything in the group is designed for making progress and not pressure. There would be tools and resources, obviously, like any other group, but the whole idea is around making things practical. My group is not another course with a bunch of information. I like to think of it as a workshop, as in this is not a learning group. This is a doing group. We get together to get things done. There's a community with questions back and forth and that sort of thing. The goals are clarity instead of confusion, consistency instead of chaos, and community instead of isolation. The three main challenges that I have had as a solo entrepreneur, or I have seen so many times working with consultants and fractionals, that the vagueness and the haphazard way of the work and the isolation, those are the things that do really hurt. So I created something. I called it the Trusted Expert Growth Lab. Clarity, structure, and guidance are the idea. That's the thing. I will send the link to the group for you to go in there. But these are some of the people that either in the personal one-on-one or groups or in the big group that we have worked together. I'm not gonna take the time for going over all of this. First of all, thank you very much for being here with me today. Discussion time with the 5 minutes or so that we have left. I also see some comments in the chat, but line is open. Any question, comment, feedback. Also, please tell me, how do you rate this presentation and how can I do it better next time? Yes, John.
Hey, that was great. Thank you for that. A tip that we use in our world is go to ChatGPT, ask it to create a structure for defining your ICP, and then throw that in and just keep refining. And then when you're done, create a custom GPT. I can help anybody who doesn't know how to do that. It's actually, if I can do it, you can do it. And then run all of your websites, ads, whatever you do through that custom GPT and ask it to tell you, are we on structure with that? And I have found that, just to what Dr. K was saying, that helps us prepare so much, because there are a lot of things that I think are making sense. And it's my story, not the ICP story. So we force ourselves and we give it a name, right? So we talk to fractionals about the freedom-loving fractional, right? And what do they want? What's important to them? What problems do they face? So every time we come into a conversation, I'm prepared because I know who we're talking to. So
Yes. Yeah.
just do that.
Yeah.
It'll really help you.
Thank you very much, John. And thank you for
Yeah, taking your stuff and putting it in that
Yes.
process would be very helpful.
Excellent. I put the link to the group for you, for the ones who want to take a look. Read this explanation. There is also a video from another webinar that I go over the challenges that this group was created for. Take a look at that video. If you like, anybody who wants to join, there is a 7-day free trial, so it's a zero risk. Our next session is going to be next Wednesday. So in that time, you can get in there, look at the resources, and in 7 days, make a decision if you want to stay or not, if this is the right fit for you. If you have questions, you want to chat with me, I put my calendar link at the bottom. So take a look at that. Let's go over more questions. So I'm gonna read the ones in the chat, but anybody else who has a question, comment, or feedback, unmute and go for it.
Just a quick thank you. I've got to jump to another call, but thank you very much. As always, you give great insights. So I appreciate
Thank you,
it.
William. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Anybody else?
Just thank you. I really appreciated your share.
Yes, my pleasure. Well, please tell me how I can make it better. You know, I'm sitting in my cave and I think I'm doing the thing, but until you give me feedback of, I always ask, rate this from 1 to 10, and whatever number they get, I say, well, how can I make it, bigger number, better number? So anything comes to mind, please let me know.
Well, I will just share for me, and
Yes.
I don't know if this is a female thing. I like to take notes.
Yes.
And what I noticed is your slides, you move your slides quickly. So for me, that's all, but that's my stuff. I got, need to learn to write faster.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you. And fortunately, these days, technology is there to help. We are recording this. There's a transcript. I will put this on YouTube, so all of that is there. But yes, it's a valid point. Thank you very much. I'll have I'll talk more. Have next slide next time. Yeah, now you're in trouble. Anybody else? Okay, so Al said, is a process of transformation of the client to a better and comforting state after they achieve the results. Yes, I guess he was confirming what one of the things that we said. Mary, you mentioned from the people they trust. Yes, it's all about trust. Know, like, and trust is the main thing that we want to pay attention to. Irv says, thank you for inviting me to attend your call. My interest with this topic is not how to optimize sales leads for me. My interest is in how I can help my clients use their CRM to identify causality to financial drivers, causality to financial drivers. In other words, what action taken by the salesperson result in actual sales or client retention? Yes. That's basically similar to the kind of work that I do in my consulting role with my small business clients, dealing with that messy middle. Sometimes it's what you said, sometimes it's the offer, sometimes it's the pricing, sometimes it's the messaging, discovering where is that knot that we need to untie. That's a thing. So anything I can do to help, please let me know.
Good. Thanks.
Yes. Anybody else? Yes, Mary. Oh, I guess she was just waving goodbye. I thought she wants to say something. Okay. Very good. I guess yes, that's the end of today. Yes.
Goodbye.
Yes, thank you. It's past 1 minute past the time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving me the gift of your time and attention. I hope this was helpful. My links are there.
Thank
Anything
you
I
so
can
much.
help, just reach out and let me know.
I want to say thank you so much, Dr. Kevan.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you. And I'll see you in a few days, Tarek.
See you on a few
Yes.
days.
Yes.
Take care.
Okay. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.